We talk about star players all the time. Let's talk about those players who we kind of don't really see a lot of, hear a lot of, kind of fly under the radar, but make a huge impact on the team. Let's talk underappreciated players going into the 2024 season. Take it away with your first one.
My first underappreciated player going into 2024. This is borderline. Should it be on this list? Should it be not? Maybe I'm cheating. I'm going to say Anthony Richardson, just because he got injured last season, his rookie season, but he looked all right. Like there were moments where it looked like, oh, this guy might be like an elite runner and athlete immediately in the NFL. Of course, injury came quickly, and that's one of the problems. Is he going to be able to navigate the injury recovery? Is he going to be able to stay healthy? And is he going to be able to consistently be a pocket quarterback as well? Because we know he just doesn't have a lot of starts under his belt in college or in the pros. That's why the injury last season hurt him. But being with Shane Steichen, if there's anyone that's going to unlock him, it's going to be Steichen. You know how much I love him as a head football coach. Not saying we should appreciate Anthony Richardson more as a player right now, because we just haven't seen enough to justify it. But I feel like a lot of people aren't talking about Indianapolis, aren't talking about Anthony Richardson. And let's remember, they're one play away from making the playoffs last season instead of the Texans with Gardner Minshew. So if Richardson is healthy and just plays solid, I think they're going to be a problem in the AFC. I think we need to keep our eye on Richardson.
I'm super excited to see how he plays out this season, because I was really loving watching Anthony Richardson play up until the injury last season. I'm going to give you my first one, and it's going to be Zack Moss for the Cincinnati Bengals. And look, Joe Mixon, right, is going to be the shoes that Zack Moss is filling. He had 300 touches on average over the last 3 seasons. So Zach Taylor likes an offense that has a feature back. He's not too big on doing the whole 60-40 split or anything. Mm-hmm. He wants that one guy that can kind of take that workload, drive it downfield, and not get worn out, not get tired. Can also provide good pass protection, which Zack Moss has been notorious for throughout his whole career. That's really what he's been used for. But, last season we started to see him get some legs under him, and that made him good enough for the Bengals to look his way. Moss is also on a 2-year, $8 million contract. He's going to be the starter over 5th-round pick Chase Brown. I'm tired of people saying that there's a chance that Chase Brown takes that starting position. That's not going to happen. Zack Moss is a better running back as of right now than Chase Brown. If that happened, it would be way later in the season, if you ask me. Zack Moss obviously came from Indianapolis as Jonathan Taylor's backup several times, because Taylor, was injured multiple times.
Yeah.
And he always backfilled that position quite well.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a great, if you play fantasy, he was a great guy to put in as a handcuff for Taylor, because you knew that, Indy was going to run the ball and they were going to rely on Moss if Taylor wasn't there. And he put up the numbers. I mean, there's a point in time where we're like, wow, like Zack Moss could be a clear-cut starter for any NFL team. Well, now he has his chance, right? So this is one of those guys where I don't think a lot of people are talking about him. I think he flies under the radar consistently. But I'm telling you, Zack Taylor is going to use him, whether it's for run blocking, because he's great at run blocking, whether it's for dump-off passes or just straight-up running the rock. Zack Moss is going to get his time. He's going to get his touches. And I think he's going to be really successful and kind of pull the Bengals into not necessarily where Joe Mixon had him, but a great second option if Joe Burrow is under a lot of pressure in any given game.
I love this. This is a great pick. He really is underappreciated. I think he's an underappreciated back in general. We saw that he had probably the best year of his career last year, arguably. He's bounced around a little bit, but he's been a viable option for every team he's gone to, even if he's not the number one. It was time for them to move on from Mixon. I think Moss should, in 24, should be better than Mixon was in 23. I hope he gets the opportunity. I agree with you. I think he's going to be good running the football. He's going to be good in blocking, and he's going to be good catching the football out of the backfield, which should help Burrow. We'll see how the offensive line works. They should be better this year, so I'm excited to see what he does. Love that pick. One of my favorites. I'm going to go now with one of your players. I'm going to go with Khalil Shakir, the wide receiver for the Buffalo Bills. Everyone is freaking out about Buffalo's wide receiver situation. Sound the alarm! We lost Stephon Diggs. You mean, the guy that got 2 catches in the playoff game and dropped that big catch, and he really only had like 6 yards in the last half of the year. What are we going to do? I think we're going to be okay.
You've heard me in my bathroom with all the lights turned out too?
Yes. So you found the camera?
I thought it was my wife, but
you just left it. When you came close to it that one time, I was like, this is it. The moment's up. No, I think the Bills, I think they're okay at wide receiver. I know they don't have the alpha that they had with Diggs, but I don't think Diggs is an alpha anymore. They drafted Khalil Shakir in 2022, and funny enough, I had him on my fantasy team. In my rookie draft, I picked him up, and I was pissed that they just refused to use him. Ken Dorsey.
Understatement, but
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he couldn't get on the field with Dorsey. Now, maybe he didn't deserve to be on the field. I'm not saying he should have been, but last year, we saw what he can do. They used him as a slot receiver last year. He ended up having like 700-something yards. And more than the amount of yards he had, he made a bunch of big plays down the stretch. Like when Kansas City kind of had him held in and you needed someone to break a play open, it was Shakir. He was the guy that Allen found himself going to consistently. I think now that you have more wide receiver talent, he won't be, basically the only option because Diggs just wasn't available the last half of last year. Let's just call it like it is. For whatever reason, maybe it was scheme, maybe it was Diggs, I don't know. But I think Buffalo's in good hands, and I think Shakir is going to have a better year. Maybe he doesn't have a huge jump in numbers, but I think he's going to continue to deliver on crucial downs because if they keep him in the slot and keep using him as that slot option for Josh Allen, I think it's clear that Allen's really comfortable with him, and I think he's a really talented football player. No one's talking about him. I really like him, though. I like him as a receiver. I think he's going to have a solid year.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I'm probably not as high on him as you are just because I've been let down by him a few times, and it's tough being a Bills fan. I guess I don't look at it from the outside in. It's a little difficult for me to just put my hat on for Shakir and think that he's going to be underrated because I think he'll continue to be that very average at best wide receiver for his entire career at Buffalo. But that's just me being a pessimist about Buffalo like I always am. Let's move on to my second guy. Man, this guy, I really love him. I really do. Ladd McConkey. I love his story. Doing some research for this show, I looked back at his high school days, and he played pretty much every position except water boy on the team. The dude is super talented. He put up like video game numbers in high school, went like without even being recruited, had to go interview at 5 different colleges. Jacksonville State in our state, Alabama, is actually one of those schools that he went to, but Georgia wound up picking him up, and that's where he really accelerated and started climbing that ladder and showed what type of receiver he could be. I think that his combine is maybe overlooked. The dude ran a 4.39 40. Like, that's fast for... he's a white receiver. There's not a ton of white receivers that you can hang your hat on and say that he's great. You got Edelman.
I thought you were going to dance around that for a second. I was like, no, don't dance around.
I'm so call it like it is. No, there's not a lot of white receivers in the NFL that are actually super talented.
Right.
Julian Edelman is probably one of the only ones that Hunter Renfrow, maybe Cooper Kupp, you could throw him in. Cooper Kupp, yeah. How do I forget Cooper Kupp? Hunter Renfrow like 2 years ago, not Hunter Renfrow of recent days. But Cooper Kupp obviously is probably the most glaring. Him and Julian Edelman have been the 2 best wide receiver white dudes.
You see some slot guys, some white slot guys, but McConkey is more versatile than just a slot player.
He's super quick. He doesn't miss a step. And he's arguably the best route runner out of the 2024 draft in the wide receiver category. Yeah. And I think this is where Harbaugh really nailed the pick because, there were chances for him to get out of this pick and not take McConkey here. Mm-hmm. And he didn't. He actually purposely, I think he traded up a pick, right, to get McConkey, if I'm not mistaken. Harbaugh saw this as an opportunity to replace Keenan Allen. So Keenan Allen is a great route runner too, right? But he doesn't have the speed that McConkey does. McConkey's faster. And watching some of his highlights in Georgia, man, like, it's just stunning what this dude can do. The way he can turn on a dime, the way he can just lose people in a route. He's a tremendous wide receiver. I think this is a great replacement for Keenan Allen. He reminds me a lot of like Deontay Johnson, kind of his play style. But I think he's actually more dangerous than Keenan Allen was. I'm not saying he's going to be as good as Keenan Allen day one, okay? So we'll pump the brakes a little bit there. But I think he is a more versatile wide receiver for Justin Herbert to throw to. Especially when you look at who the wide receiving core is for the Chargers. I mean, you have him and like Quentin Johnson, you have like Josh Palmer and DJ Chark.
Yeah.
None of those guys really fire you up. So McConkey has an opportunity to be the clear-cut number one, and I bet you by the end of the season, we're looking back and saying, oh, McConkey finished well above, maybe even in the top 10 or top 12 wide receivers on the season in the entire NFL.
Yeah, a lot of people thought the Chargers might, people that don't know what they're talking about, thought the Chargers might take a receiver with their number one pick. We all knew they were going to take a lineman. That's what Harbaugh does. Jim Harbaugh, he wants to run the football. Run, play action. Run, play action. Have him bite, then hit him over the top. He's going to take a lot of the weight off Justin Herbert. As you said, the wide receiver room was terrible. I mean, Quentin Johnson, the worst rookie season of a wide receiver in a long time. We'll see what Harbaugh can get out of him, but I love that they were able to get Ladd McConkey when they did.
Harbaugh actually said in an interview, like after the draft pick for the lineman, he was like, I know everybody's going to say, like, why didn't you get a star player? He said, but we look at linemen as star players too.
That's where you win and lose football games.
100% true.
I know the fans and the draft coverage, it's all, receivers. Having elite receivers does not win you Super Bowls. Having great offensive line and defensive line, and quarterbacks, that's how you win Super Bowls. That's where the Chargers are heading. I think Ladd McConkey is going to work great in that offense. I agree. I love the pick. Last one for me, I'm going to go with another quarterback, Will Levis for the Tennessee Titans.
2 quarterbacks here. Okay.
2 quarterbacks. Now, when I say he's underappreciated, with your picks, you're basically saying, I think they're going to have big years. I'm not necessarily saying that. I'm just saying I maybe think it's more possible than others. Will Levis showed me a lot of good things in 2023. I think you kind of agree with me there. He impressed. Now, yeah, he had some bad games. Down the stretch, he had some really bad games. But before that, he had some really good games too. But remember, he's a rookie quarterback. Your rookie season is tough. There's going to be ups and downs. You know, they want you to just make it through. A NASCAR reference. I'm a NASCAR fan. When they hire a rookie driver, a first-time racer goes into the Cup Series, they don't want him to win races. Their goal is to finish races. Be like, try to finish every single race. Just make it through your rookie season, get as much experience as possible. That's what you want out of your quarterback if he's not a superstar. Obviously, you want more from Caleb Williams. Will Levis, a second-round pick, I think he gave you what you wanted from a second-round pick his first season. Had to come in maybe sooner than people wanted, and he looks really good. He's got a cannon of an arm. He makes good decisions. He's big. He can run people over. Can he operate an offense and consistently make good decisions when the pressure's on? We'll see. But I think with the talent that Tennessee has brought in, because I thought Tennessee was going to enter rebuild mode, they said no. They brought in a lot of talent. They brought in Calvin Ridley. They're pushing their chips into the middle. So if he doesn't take a step forward this season, there's no excuses. I think Will Levis has the opportunity to impress, and I just think more people should be talking about him because it's possible he has a impressive 2024.
I love Will Levis. I think he has been comped with Josh Allen, his play style, and maybe potential abilities. I hope that he does great for the Titans. We have a couple of Titans fan friends, and those guys are usually depressed, and it would be nice to actually see them with a smile on their face this season.